Yep. Okay. Thank you very much, Josh, for that lovely introduction. It's good to be back. It's been a good few months since I was last here, and it's really nice for you guys to turn up and actually, be present today, because that's actually what this whole presentation is about. It's about being present and actually being fully conscious and being very, very much aware. So I'd like to thank you for being here today. It is quite late on in the day for me because my day starts, if you don't already know, very early on in the morning in the European session. And I've just got a few questions still coming through, Josh. Mic is very hot or too close to it. Let me just turn it down. Right, so thank you very much for being here today. I know it's quite late for some of you, but it's also it's going to be very beneficial. I think it's going to probably take about an hour or so. Maybe we get some questions toward the end. So we'll see how it goes. But basically, I want to talk about tackling issues with trading discipline. So I think this is something that everybody has sort of come across at some point in their trading, or you basically have not traded long enough, but you will come across discipline issues if you have not already done so. I mean, I have been trading like 14 years now, and I have discipline issues even till today. And if I do not use some of the techniques that I share with you today, I could quite easily lose that discipline. But saying that, the level of discipline that I have and what I lose is quite different to some people. I haven't got a lot of time as it is. So I'm going to get through a quick disclaimer. I do not have any knowledge of the trading needs, objectives of individuals' presentation. This presentation represents suggestion, training, and information for viewers to use when evaluating and making trading decisions in light of their own individual trading goals, and does not constitute specific advice. I do not take into account the trading objectives, financial situation, and needs of any particular person. And before making a trading decision on the basis of any information shared, the prospective trader needs to consider, with or without the assistance of an advisor, whether the advice is appropriate in light of their own particular trading needs, objectives, and financial circumstances. Trading the markets involves risk. Okay, so basically, a quick show of hands. I'm not going to check, but I'm just going to sort of guess. But I realize a lot of traders here right now will understand if I say you have some issues with doubt, fear, and anxiety. And the reason I say that is because most of you are very much aware of that, but what are you actually doing about that? You have issues, but what are your doubts, fears, and anxiety telling you about your trading? And most traders don't really sort of listen to this. They understand discipline is an issue. They understand that fear is an issue, that doubt is an issue, and anxiety is an issue. But what I want to really share with you is some very practical tips that you can actually take away in a very short period of time and actually put to practice tomorrow, as long as you're willing and, funnily enough, disciplined enough to actually put it into use. So one thing that I want to talk about here right now, and if you look at this pyramid, it's basically a display of what really provides a foundation for your trading career and actually does help you overcome those doubts, those fears, because all of us have them. I mean, I always say every day I have performance anxiety, without a doubt. I would be lying if I said I didn't. But the thing is, every performance, anybody that is involved in any kind of performance, whether it's a pop star, whether it's an athlete, if you're performing on a world-class level, it's very natural to have some kind of anxiety. But the difference really is, how much anxiety actually takes over your belief and confidence. How much fear actually takes over your belief and confidence. How much doubt really overshadows your belief and confidence. Because the reality is, we are human beings. We are emotional beings. The only time you will become emotionless and not have feelings is when you stop being human, right? And the thing is, through this journey, this journey towards finding discipline, people in the trading world have learned that they need to be systematic, mechanical. They almost need to be robotic, emotionless, so that they can actually find discipline. And the issue lies here. To become disciplined, you still have to remain human. And this is why many people, it doesn't matter how many rules they have, how many rules they write down in their trading plan, and how hard they try to follow that, they cannot follow that plan. The reason is because you're human. You will have emotions, and those emotions will show up. But it's not about eliminating the doubts, the fear, the anxiety. It's actually about overshadowing that. So I quite often talk about the emotional scales. So if you imagine in your mind's eye this scale, this emotional scale, on one side you have doubt, fear, and anxiety, right? And on the other side you have belief and confidence. At any given time throughout the day, you're going to have a heavier load on one side or the other. So the question is the doubt, the fear, the anxiety stronger than the belief and confidence? And this is where the belief and confidence comes from. Firstly, performance and experience. If you don't have performance and you don't have experience, it's very difficult to have belief and confidence. And this is going to be the issue for many new traders. It was for me, it's going to be for many of you. And I say new traders, anybody really that has not had consistent success and profits in the marketplace will have this issue where they do not have performance and experience to help give them belief and confidence. Now, I'm in a position where I actually do have performance and I have experience, but at the same time, it does not dictate what's going to happen next year, next month, etc. For example, I've made less in the last 3 years than I did in 2011 and 2012. So what that means is my revenue has dropped, but does that mean I'm actually worse as a trader? I'm not. I'm actually more disciplined. I'm more patient. I've actually become a better trader, but revenue does not reflect that. So performance and experience does give me confidence because I know I can bring in revenue. I know I can bring in profits. But at the same time, if you don't have that, what do you have? Well, the only thing you can really rely on is understanding. You can learn and you can understand the marketplace. You can rely on a strategy that is taught to you, a system that you buy, or anything, whatever it might be. But as long as you understand it, you can start to build some confidence. But if you don't understand the system, the method, the strategy, you will not have confidence. So one of the things that I really specialize in is teaching people how to understand the marketplace, how to understand the framework, the trading framework that I apply, how to understand what the story is, what does it actually mean, what is it telling you. So that way you actually believe in something, you actually have a context, a story. Now with that context, that story, you build a plan every day, and that plan then gives you clarity. And clarity is required because without clarity, it's impossible to have belief and confidence. But many traders come into this business and they think they have a plan, they think they have clarity, but they really don't. Because clarity needs to be to such an extent where you actually know exactly which prices you are looking to get interested on the long side or the short side. Exactly which prices, right? So you need to know that. It needs to be that clear. And even if it's not that clear when you start the day, it needs to become clearer as the market comes your way. So I show examples of this every day, right? Now, when you have a plan that you believe in. It comes from this foundation of context, this foundation of actually understanding where you are in the marketplace. You actually can have a plan that you can actually gain some clarity from. But not just clarity, you know what you're looking for. You actually believe in this. You have confidence. It's very difficult to become disciplined if you do not believe in your strategy. You do not believe in your plan for the day. So discipline and resiliency, it's great to understand that you need it, but where does it start? it does not start by just telling yourself every day, I need to be more disciplined. I need to follow my plan. You can only follow a plan if you believe in it, if it's clear, and you actually understand what that plan means, right? So the process for overshadowing doubts and fears really comes down to performance and experience to some extent, and that's going to be the main thing when you become a professional trader that's been doing this for a long time. Okay, but if you don't have that, you have to rely on context, understanding. How do you actually understand the plan that you create every day? So this is going to bring me on to my next steps. So discipline starts with clarity, right? So be very clear on your objectives. What are you actually looking for? For example, if somebody's looking for 5 ticks on the E-mini S&P, their objectives are very different to somebody that is looking for 5 points, right? So if you're looking for 5 points, your objective is different. Therefore, your strategy is going to be different. Your plan is going to be different. And I get this all the time because I deal with auction market theory traders every day, market profile order flow traders. And many of them have gone down this journey trying to find discipline, trying to be quicker into their trades. They get onto order flow and then basically they lose sight of their objectives. So they become scalpers. Not necessarily a bad thing itself, but I'm saying basically you've got to be very clear with what you're looking for. Because if I'm actually looking for 5 ticks, it's very different to 5 points on the E-mini S&P. If I'm looking for 5 ticks on the Euro Bund, it's very different to 30 ticks on the Euro Bund. So if you're clear with your objectives, you can actually have a plan that actually helps you reach those objectives. Now, also be very clear about the process, because a plan is good to some extent. But what about when the market actually gets to your support or resistance level, when it actually gets into what I call basically an engagement zone? What about then? What happens then? I have a very specific way of looking at execution. I plan, I prepare in terms of technically as well as psychologically, right? And then I start writing my plan, I visualize my plan, and then I have a pre-engagement vision from a longer term perspective, then a engagement vision from a shorter term perspective, and then I identify exactly the prices that I'm actually going to buy or sell at, or potentially buy or sell at, and then I consider execution. But I understand the process. But most people, their understanding of the process is support, resistance, order flow, or price action, right? They don't actually understand the process. The process has to be very clear. You should not move from support resistance straight away to execution unless you are a scalper and you're looking to get in and out very quickly, right? So please be aware of what your objectives are, because that's going to dictate what is clear for you. What is your plan? Now, I say specialize here because I specialize in trading value, meaning most of the time I trade towards value. But if the market is moving away from value, I might have to let the market do what it's doing and just watch, observe. But because my plan is very clear and I understand what I actually specialize in, I know what to wait for. But the thing is, with even auction market theory traders, which some of you might be, some of you might not be, it doesn't matter, because if you're a trend trader, many of you will understand that, even if you don't know market profile. If you're a trend trader, you trade trends, right? You buy pullbacks, sell bounces. But what happens when it goes sideways or it gets balanced? Most people will say, well, I'm not trading that. Or they will say, well, I'm just going to try to see if the trend continues and just hope and pray. But the thing is, it's not specializing. I think if you really understand what you're looking for, you will wait for what you are looking for. It needs to be very specific. So I'm not really getting into the technicals today, but I do want to sort of hint at some technical ideas that some of you may relate to. But let's just make sure whatever your strategy is, whatever your style is, whether it's trading with the short-term trend, longer-term trend, or trading value, meaning you're basically fading the unfair highs of a sideways range or buying the unfair lows of the sideways range. That's what I specialize in. But don't create a plan which you're not going to follow. So if you're going to, for example, short the unfair highs, the highs of a sideways range, don't all of a sudden become a buyer if it does not set up the short, because now you're losing focus. You're not specializing, right? So you have to choose what you actually specialize in so you can actually gain from that, because you really shouldn't be in a situation where you're thinking, should I fade into value? Should I sell into the sideways range, or should I wait for the breakout? Because you'll find yourself in a situation real time where you're short, and as soon as it goes offside, you'll think, wait a minute, I'm wrong, let's get long, right? So you will find yourself in those situations. The only reason you won't is because you've not traded long enough or found yourself in those situations. But if you're buying at the bottom of a range and all of a sudden it breaks out, you will lose confidence and you'll think, wait a minute, I'm wrong, this is a breakout, it's not actually a long. So you're going to change your strategy. So it's not specialized. So you're losing focus, you're losing structure. So you should create a daily plan which is easy to follow and actually very easy to understand, because I was in a situation where I got into auction market theory trading, and if any of you guys know auction market theory trading, it's very simple to some extent, but at the same time there are many different ways to apply auction market theory principles. Just like a candlestick chart or a bar chart, you could buy a breakout out of a balanced sideways range, or you could actually short into that range. It's still auction market theory, but which one are you specializing in? Which one are you focusing on? I used to find myself thinking, well, I think I should be short. Wait a minute, it's breaking up. Maybe I should be long. So you find yourself second guessing your trading methodology real time, because your plan is flawed in the first place. You're not specializing. So what this means is you really have to get very good at giving up some trades. I mean, I sit there and watch the market sell off like 50, 60 ticks on the bund and not take a trade because I'm focusing on the long. But I'm very good at that because I know I'm not focused on the short. But many of you are going to get caught up thinking, okay, I want to take a long, but because the long's not setting up, I'm going to take the short because I don't want to wait. So your plan is not specialized. Your plan is flawed in the first place. Your plan creates that undisciplined nature, right? So understand why you actually look at those opportunities in the first place. Like, why are you actually buying or selling in a certain situation? I know, for example, exactly why I buy below value or sell above value. I also only focus on fewer opportunities. I don't look at too many opportunities, because if I do, I know I'm going to get lost. I know I'm going to get lost in whatever's happening right now. So what I say is basically envision or visualize your opportunities and scenarios ahead of time. I show people how to do this every day in the live mentorship room. So you can come and join in and actually watch this. But what I'm saying is basically mentally rehearse and see in your mind's eye, what is it you think the market's going to do? Don't just buy or sell because you've got a green line or a red line or a green arrow or a red arrow. Ask yourself, what does that actually mean? Why am I interested? Why do I believe this market's going to go lower? Why do I believe it's going to go higher? Because then you can actually commit. And without commitment, without motivation, you cannot have discipline. Because if you are committed to a trade you don't believe in, guess what? You're going to get out of it. You're going to second guess as soon as it turns offside, which it will, because every long, in most cases, will go offside. Every short, in most cases, will go offside. Of course, you get those trades, you get long, and it just rallies. You get short, it sells off. But majority of the time, the market is not going to do that, right? It's going to go offside, and you're going to second guess because you're thinking, have I actually made the right decision? Should I focus on the other side? Which you shouldn't be in. You should not be in that situation. So, next point. Discipline is a lifestyle, right? So, what I mean by this, right, is very, very important, because discipline is not something that most traders actually think it is. Because most traders think, okay, I need to be more disciplined in my trading. I need to follow my plan. You can tell yourself that for as long as you like, but it will not make you disciplined. The reason is because let's just make this point. Being disciplined needs to be in the core of who you are. It needs to be in your blood. It needs to be embedded in who you are. How disciplined are you, and how patient are you in life in general, right? So this will be like very simple things. Like, can you wake up on time? I've worked with students over the last 10 years which know the strategy, they understand what I'm teaching, yet they fail to wake up on time. Very simple thing, but they are not motivated to get up on time to actually sit there, do their pre-market analysis, get ready for the market to open and actually trade. Now, they come in, say, well, I need to be more disciplined. I need to be more disciplined. I need to follow my plan. Yet they turn up 10 minutes late from the market open every day. It's a very simple thing, but many people overlook that. So discipline is a lifestyle. Like, you have to have this in your blood. I really mean this. Really test yourself. How disciplined are you in life? Like, many of you today turned up like 35, 40 minutes early for this presentation, right? Which is a show of discipline. I mean, I watch this all the time. I run a live mentorship room, and people that turn up consistently, they may have other commitments, right? But if you are turning up late, for example, for like meetings all the time, for work in general, you are lacking discipline. But that might be down to motivation. But when it comes to trading, are you turning up on time? Are you really disciplined in life? For example, let's just put it like this, okay? If you are struggling with discipline in trading, could you commit to discipline in some other endeavor, some other activity? Could you? That's a question. Because I learned discipline in martial arts. I started doing karate when I was 7 years old. I then started boxing when I was 11. I did Wing Chun Kung Fu when I was 13 years old, being the youngest person ever studying that martial art in the whole UK. And I studied that until I became an instructor. But you know what it taught me? Discipline. It taught me how to commit to something and actually see it through. Commit to every lesson. Turn up every week and commit. And actually do tedious tasks, like do centerline punches, right? Punching in a straight line for half an hour, 20 minutes. And the reason you do that is because it's building discipline. It's building that muscle of discipline. So think about your life, not just your trading. Think about other areas in your life. Where could you actually show and prove discipline? Right? So, yeah, I mean, some of you guys are saying the right things, right? Because, yeah, I mean, if you can't wake up on time, if you're drinking every day during the week, for example, it's not really discipline, right? So, what other things could you actually commit to? Let's test your discipline, right? Test your discipline. What else could you commit to? Not trading, outside of trading. For example, like things like martial arts groups, any martial art. Because martial arts will test your discipline. I didn't know this until I actually got through this, and I realized, why am I so disciplined? Why do I have this kind of mindset? And I realized I had the mindset and the confidence because of martial arts. That's where I gained this, right? I'm a big believer in discipline and gaining discipline, because I was a very shy child. I didn't talk to anyone. I gained confidence and discipline through martial arts, because I became an instructor by the time I was the age of 17, the youngest instructor in Wing Chun Kung Fu in the whole of the UK. And I used to be doubtful about my ability until I was in situations where I had 100 people watching me saying, watch this guy. My instructor would say, watch this guy. He knows what he's doing. The rest of you need to watch this guy. So what I realized is that I became disciplined. I became confident because of my dedication to something. Yeah, exactly. Sticky hands, right? So it's something that you can basically apply this idea of discipline to, like meditation or yoga classes, or something like a sport like football, soccer, tennis. It doesn't matter. But what you can do is practice discipline in something else, because let's face it, in trading, discipline is quite difficult for most people to build, right? And it's a very difficult endeavor for people to test their discipline because it involves losing money. So why not try to see if you can become disciplined in something else, right? Please try this on. It really does matter, right? Just think, discipline is a lifestyle. If I can be disciplined in life, if it's in my subconscious, my unconscious, it's in my blood, it's who I am. I am a disciplined person. Do you not think you're going to have a bit of an impact on your trading career? If you can get up every day and you're a disciplined person, not just in trading, but let's just put it this other way, right? If you want to be disciplined, but you're undisciplined in life, you're lazy, you don't wake up on time, you don't commit to anything, you're not motivated, do you think you're going to be disciplined in trading? No. But if you can be disciplined in life, right, you've at least got a better chance, right? So let's move on. Model how you build discipline in other activities, right? Model how you do it. Take that on and put it into your trading, because that's what I did with martial arts. I modeled that. I'm a big believer and a massive fan of Bruce Lee's principles, and I think this guy was he was beyond his years. He was a massively disciplined person, but he also not was a great martial artist, but also a great master of life, right? So if you could or can read some books from Bruce Lee, please do so. I think you really will be inspired, right? So I think you could, to some extent, test your discipline in other areas. I mean, for example, how disciplined are you with time? Do you turn up late for meetings and wake up late consistently? Could you get better with that? Right? So it's a simple thing. And yes, trading requires a lot more discipline than waking up earlier. It requires a lot more discipline than brushing your teeth and taking a shower every day. But listen, these are habitual things. We do this every day. We wake up, we brush our teeth, we take a shower without even thinking about it. We eat subconsciously, unconsciously, because we're so good at this, right? But, if you are disciplined enough for your trading, you will also see this coming out in your trading, right? So let's talk about raising awareness of some states of mind, right? Let's talk about qualities of a disciplined and patient person. Well, firstly, for the most part, they will be very calm, relaxed, humble, passive. Okay, not all the time, but they will, for the most part, show these qualities. They will become calm, relaxed, humble, passive, placid. Well, I see this all the time with traders. I see this with myself. Okay, physiological. A lot of people think trading is purely psychological, which is in the head. It's very much physiological as well. Because if your breathing, for example, is very fast paced and you're breathing very quickly, anxiety reflects that. Fear reflects that. If your physiology is like crouched down, your shoulders are down, and if you're depressed, your shoulders are down. Your physiology is a massive factor in your state of being. When I sit back and I relax, meaning I actually physically put my back against a chair and my breathing is steady, I can relax, I can wait for opportunities much better. Now, think about if you're actually leaning forward, grabbing your mouse for your trading platform. Now, isn't that the physiology of somebody that actually wants to take a trade? Now, if you're over trading, watch your physiology, because if you're over trading, I can be pretty sure you're leaning forward, grabbing the mouse for your trading platform, because my trading platform is a separate PC, right, to my trading platform. When I've stopped trading, it's switched off. But if I'm physiologically shifting my head in that direction and picking up that mouse, I must be engaged. I must be looking for execution. It's not going to happen unless I'm in the state of mind where I think my vision, my plan has come together. It's not going to happen, right? It's not a question. But many of you are going to sit there, you're going to trade and trade and trade, take trades which you don't actually want to take. I'll be surprised if you don't. If you're here, this is what's happening to you. You are taking trades you don't want to take. It's not because you're not smart. It's not because you don't know your plan. It's not because you don't understand what you need to do. It's not that. It's something that's very much overlooked and people don't see it. And I'm going to tell you exactly what it is, and please don't take offense. It's just very, very much what most of us are going through as human beings, not just traders. Now, qualities of an impatient, undisciplined person are very much anxious, fearful, doubtful, aggressive, frustrated, bored. Like the opposite of being passive, patient, right? If you're passive, if you're patient, you're waiting, you're not aggressive, you're not frustrated. I mean, I say this every day in my live mentorship room. You know, I say, look, nothing's setting up right now. It didn't set up today, but you probably got bored, you got frustrated. Now, where did that feeling come from? Because all of us will feel this, not only in trading. I mean, think about, you know, the last time you had to wait for a bus, or you had to wait in the queue at the supermarket. You're going to get bored, you're going to get impatient because you have to wait. But in trading, you have to become professional waiters. You have to become very, very good at waiting, right? But in everyday living, do human beings like waiting? They don't. But in trading, you've got to become very good at waiting. I mean, my kids test my patience every night, because when I can't put them to sleep and it's taken an hour and a half, it's testing my patience. But I'm mindful. I'm aware that it's testing my patience. I'm aware this is building my muscle of patience, which I'm going to talk about a bit later today, right? So please bear with me. Now, let's talk about testing your discipline. Discipline is very much like a muscle, right? It's not something you can read in a book and say, okay, I need to be disciplined. I mean, let's just ask you guys. I mean, how many of you guys don't know that you should be more disciplined or more patient? It's not something you don't know. I'd be very surprised if you don't know you need to be more disciplined or more patient. It's just something you should know. You only have to trade for like 2 weeks or 3 weeks to know that you need to be more disciplined. You need to be more patient. So it's not something you guys don't know. The issue is not many people know how to actually build it. That's the issue, right? So let's test your discipline. Discipline is like building a muscle, right? If you don't go to the gym, your muscle's not going to grow. If let's, for example, say you're trying to grow your bicep muscle, which is on your arm, right? Let's say you're trying to grow your bicep muscle, but you go to the gym once every 2 months. Is that going to grow? Is it being tested? No. So what about your mind? It's a muscle. Are you testing your discipline on a day-to-day basis? Are you actually trying to make that grow? Most people are not. They understand. I've read this in Trading in the Zone. I've read this in this book. I must be more disciplined. I write in my journal every day. But people will do this for 3, 4, 5 years, 10 years. And are they more disciplined? No, because they're just telling themselves. They're not actually building the muscle. You can tell yourself, I want a bigger bicep every day. You can tell yourself, I'm going to go to the gym every day. But you're not going to get bigger muscles, and you're not going to grow if you're not actually practicing and actually trying to grow that muscle, if you're not testing that muscle. So your mind is a muscle, right? Discipline is like a muscle. It has to be tested every day. Can you commit to mindfulness or meditation techniques every morning and every evening, right? Now, some people very much shy away from meditation because they hear that and they think meditation, that's for hippies. I'm not going to meditate. You know, that's for weirdos. I don't do meditation. But all of a sudden, you bring in mindfulness, and they think, oh, that sounds interesting. Let me do some mindfulness techniques. Let me just sit in stillness. It's the same thing. Now, I've been meditating since I was 13 years old because I got into meditation through Kung Fu. I didn't even know the benefits of it, but I started doing it. Now, I continued meditation when I got into trading back in 2001, and I've been pretty much doing it every other day, okay, initially. But after about 3 years, I realized when I meditated, I felt different. When I didn't meditate, I felt different. So I dedicated myself to meditation for about 10 years right now, pretty much every day. And now I cannot even think about a day where I have not meditated. Because for me, meditation is a habit now. It's just like brushing my teeth, having a shower, putting my clothes on. It's subconscious. It's not a chore. But for most people, when I say practice mindfulness, practice meditation, they think, no, forget about that. It's for hippies. I just want to learn how to trade. But here comes the issue, right? Because I'm going to tell you one thing that most people will not tell you. I'm going to tell you exactly what you are practicing through mindfulness and meditation, right? And I'm going to share with you why specifically it makes sense. Okay, which is what many of you need to hear, because many of you will not meditate or practice mindfulness techniques because you just hear it's a good thing. It's not going to make any sense. But many of you are traders. Many of you understand if something makes sense, I believe in it, I'm going to do it, right? So let's get on with this. Can you commit firstly to some other simple things like diet, nutrition plans? That's a very simple thing, because I didn't. After I got married, I put on a hell of a lot of weight, right? I didn't even realize. Okay, I put on about 3.5 stones, 4 stones, but I lost it very quickly, right? But the thing is, I committed to a diet, nutrition plan. I hired a coach and he coached me, and I lost weight, and I lost it very rapidly, and I got very slim again. Now I've started to bulk up again because I'm into my bodybuilding, weight training, etc. But I commit to that with the same level of discipline I commit to my trading. I have a plan, I have a nutrition plan, I have a exercise plan. I commit to it without a foul. I'm going to go to the gym 5 or 6 times a week without a doubt. I'm going to do it, right? So, but the thing is, it's discipline. I'm going to do it because I'm disciplined and I'm practicing my discipline. Now, what about something else, like, going to yoga class or martial arts class? Same thing. But the thing is, if I can commit to exercise, I can commit to diet. But the thing is, if you can't, well, is that not a lack of discipline? Is that not the same thing as lacking discipline in trading? It is exactly the same thing. Maybe you're not as motivated. If you're overweight, you might be more motivated. Fair enough. But the idea of discipline is committing to something. It's about saying, look, I've got a goal, I've got an objective, I want to commit to this. But not only am I going to commit, I'm actually going to commit to this extent where it's nothing else. I'm going to commit, and only that. So are you motivated? Because many people do lose motivation. I have done. As I made more money in trading, the less motivated I become. I have to continuously re-motivate myself, because you may get to a point where, just as I did, you may get to a point and you think, well, do I need to keep trading? Do I need to continue? And the thing is, you need motivation. It needs to be there, and your motivation will change. Because when I started trading, I didn't have kids. I did not have a wife. I was not married. I didn't have that motivation. My motivation was my mother. My mother brought me up after my father passed away at the age of 33 when I was 7 years old. My motivation initially when I started trading was to provide all I possibly could for my mother, because she brought me up, and my father passed away at a young age. But my motivation changed because I had a wife now, I had kids, but my motivation changed. But at the same time, my motivation has still not been money. It's always been something on a higher purpose, and that makes a big difference, because if you're not making money, your motivation is gone. It's as simple as that. Okay, let's talk about some other ideas here. The process. I quite often refer to processes because it's let's just say it's BS, right? It's BS to just say, okay, you need discipline, you need patience. None of you are new to this, okay? I'm not going to waste your time and tell you need patience and discipline. You already know that. The question is, how do I actually get it? So it's about process. Understand the process. The process of developing discipline. Firstly, purpose. What is your purpose in the first place? Why are you actually here today, trading this day? What is your purpose? This needs to be in your business plan. But what is your purpose? Why are you actually even considering trading? Because if your reason for getting into the trading business is because you saw this advert for, wait a minute, you can make £1 million in 1 week, forget about it. But if your purpose is deeper, you got a purpose, right? Now your clarity. What's your clarity? What's your clear vision for life? What's your clear reason for turning up every day? Why are you even turning up? What is your motivation? Right? Now that is going to provide your motivation. Why are you turning up every day? I know if I don't turn up and do my business, and I don't do it to a certain degree on a certain level, not only am I not committing to myself as a human being, I'm not committing to my family, my whole legacy. My legacy is behind me. My legacy is my family and my kids. Now I'm not committing to that if I don't turn up and give my fullest, my 100% every day. If I turn up lazy, not waking up on time, I've already failed. If I don't have a purpose, I don't have clarity, not only from a money perspective and technical perspective, but from a deeper perspective. If I don't have that, I don't really have anything to stand on. Now, motivation is going to also help you. Motivation, why are you motivated to actually even stick to your plan? Why does it even matter to you? Because if you are a multi-billionaire and you've got all the money in the world and you've got everything that you need and you're just trying trading because you're just bored, you've got nothing else better to do, you're probably not motivated. You're probably not going to turn up every day, etc. Now, I'm not saying this for everyone, right? But the point here is that you need motivation. You need a reason to turn up and actually commit. Now, commitment is something that you have to put into this. Like, for example, if you don't want to learn Wing Chun Kung Fu or karate or boxing, you're not going to commit, firstly, to paying your monthly fee. You're not going to commit to turning up for your training every week. You're not going to commit, right? For trading, are you actually going to commit to your plan? Are you actually going to really, truly commit to that plan because you truly believe in this? Because if you have commitment to a vision, and now don't forget about what I talked about earlier, you need understanding. You need an understanding of context, because without that, you cannot have belief. You cannot have confidence. So your discipline will come and your commitment will come from this belief and confidence, right? So let's talk about mindfulness. Now, mindfulness is nothing new. It's been around, since Buddhism, etc. But it's been around for a long time. But Jon Kabat-Zinn, if you haven't heard this guy speak, I really recommend you either read some of his books or watch him speak on YouTube, because some fantastic videos. And this guy, he's had this ability to bring mindfulness and awareness into the Western world over the last sort of 10-20 years. But the thing is, it's now being introduced and actually taken as a very serious approach to like dealing with stress and anxiety and depression, etc. Because now there's a science behind it. Because many of us know meditation's, beneficial, or we hear that. But I committed to meditation without science, because I recognize the benefits through actual practice and experience. But now we have science backing this up. Now we have science telling us, neuroscience telling us, that the brain is neuroplastic. It has neuroplasticity, meaning it builds just like a muscle over time. And the more you practice something, like a habit, the more you practice it, the more it gets ingrained, right? And this does not stop. It doesn't matter how old you get, right? There are some studies saying that the younger you are, the quicker you can learn things. Like, for example, you can learn to play chess or learn to, for example, ride a bike at earlier ages. But the thing is, neuroplasticity does not stop. It will continue. It doesn't matter what age group. So mindfulness is basically meditation or raising your conscious awareness. But this is how Jon Kabat-Zinn put this: a way of paying attention on purpose in the present moment, non-judgmentally, to whatever arises in your field of experience, right? And I'm going to come back to this in a little while, but let's talk about the opposite to this, right? Mindlessness. Mindlessness is living on autopilot, governed by your past, conditioning of thoughts, beliefs, emotional responses, and behaviors, being very reactionary and dominated by the mindless habits and patterns. This is exactly what I've seen traders go through. This is exactly what I struggled with as a trader. Now, please understand this. Mindfulness and meditation and awareness does not mean you do not experience these issues with past conditioning, beliefs, emotional responses, etc. You do. But it's just like it's like a muscle, right? The thing is, through mindfulness and meditation, you practice every day. For example, let's move on to a technique. Mindfulness exercise, right? This is a practical technique. This is just about breathing. But I'm going to tell you, because many people will say meditate, practice mindfulness, and they will say do this and you'll become a better trader. Most people will say, well, I'll do it and let's see what happens after a week or two. But most people will not stick to it because they do not understand what it's actually doing. I'm going to tell you, but bear with me. Mindfulness exercise right here, right now, and practice this with me if you like, right? Just sit comfortably and relax. Sit upright in a chair. You don't have to close your eyes. You can if you like. Sit upright in a chair. You can stand up if you like. It doesn't matter. Okay, just feel comfortable. If you're sitting down, put your palms on your thighs, resting, facing up. If you're standing, you can just keep your hands by your side. Now, you can keep your eyes open, you can close them. Close your eyes or keep them open. And begin taking deep breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth or nose, whatever feels comfortable. So breathe in through your nose, breathe out through your nose or your mouth, whatever feels comfortable. Do this at a very relaxed pace for approximate count of about 4 to 5 seconds when breathing in and out. After you've been doing this for a little while, see if you can raise awareness and bring your focus to that moment where your in-breath becomes the out-breath, or your out-breath becomes the in-breath. Because there's a moment where it just shifts. Now, most of us are breathing all day long, but we don't pay attention. Now, just focus on this. Now, if your mind wanders to the past or the future, just bring it back to this breathing. Bring it back to this gap between the in-breath and the out-breath. And every time your mind tries to move away from this, you bring it back to the in-breath and the out-breath. And then the gap between the in-breath and the out-breath. Your mind will wander, but don't resist it. Just bring it back as soon as you recognize it. As soon as you become mindful, as soon as you become aware, bring it back. Now, what you are actually doing with this exercise, you are practicing and building the habit of becoming more present and in the now. Because quite naturally, your mind is going to wander off into the past, into the future. So now you can open your eyes if you close them, or you can just bring your conscious awareness into this realm, this presentation. Now, the point here is, like, many of us have done these exercises, we've learnt them, right? But many of us don't actually understand why we actually do it and what the benefits are. Let me just tell you something. This is going to make a lot of sense. Here's 4 keys to developing the skills of mindfulness meditation. Now, these skills are not only applicable to trading, but everyday living. Let's look at number 1, the skill of placing your mind where you want it to be, which might be your trading plan. But in this case, we focused on the breath, or the gap between the breath. So i.e., I will focus on the sensation of my breath, or the gap in between the breath. So it's very specific, but it's something you're focusing on. Now, what will happen in a trading situation every day? Your mind will wander. You'll start thinking about other opportunities. You'll start thinking about other trades you might get involved in. Let's look at step number 2, the skill of keeping the mind where you want it to be. I will keep my attention on my breathing, right? So now you're just focusing on breathing. But what happens when you diverge from your plan, when you take another trade? You lose focus. You lose focus of the plan. So this is a very simple exercise because you are actually focusing on your breathing, right? Now, step 3, the skill of sensing when your mind is not where you want it to actually be. So you're focusing on your breath, but you notice your mind wanders. It starts thinking about yesterday, what happened earlier on in the day. What's going to happen tomorrow? The past, the future, the past, the future. What about right now? Your mind is wandering, right? That's mindlessness. Your mind is wandering. And this is the natural state most of us are in, right? It's not an offensive thing. This is just a reality, right? So it's just that not many people are actually going to tell you that, you know, you're mindless. They're not going to tell you because it's offensive. But the reality is you have to wake up and you have to say, look, actually, I'm doing things. I know what my plan is. I know what I got to do, but I'm not doing it. It's not because you're not smart. It's not because you're not clever. It doesn't mean you don't understand trading. It's just because you are human. Your mind is wandering. Your mind is going into the past. It's going into the future. It's not engaging with the present moment. So step 4 is the skill of detaching the mind for you from where you do not want it to be. So if you look at the example here, I realize I do not want my mind to be where it has wandered to. Might be the past, might be the future. And I refocus on the sensation of breathing. So now this is going to be very difficult for many people. And I found it extremely difficult, becoming somebody that had to practice meditation, because I learned that meditation was about being in the moment, having no thoughts, right? The issue is your mind will wander. You will have thoughts. So it's not the problem. It's not that you're not meditating, because people will say to me, oh, I try to meditate, but I just cannot stop thinking. My mind keeps thinking. I'm thinking about what happened yesterday. I'm thinking about what happened tomorrow. The issue is not that you're thinking, because you're human. You're going to think. The issue here is that you're letting your mind wander and get away from what you're actually focusing on. So the simple exercise every day, every morning, even for just 2 to 3 minutes, brings your mind into this place where you can actually practice, build this habit. As I said, it's like a muscle. If you practice every morning for 2 to 3 minutes, very, 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 very simple exercise, right? But again, it comes down to commitment. It comes down to discipline. You might want to be a disciplined trader, but are you disciplined enough to commit to 2 to 3 minutes of mindfulness meditation every morning? So, this is the thing that I have to ask people, because I say, look, you want to be disciplined as a trader, but can you practice this for 2 to 3 minutes every day? And the reality is most people can't, because they find watching TV, doing something else more important. So where really is your motivation? For me, it's not a question of whether I meditate or practice mindfulness. It's more of an issue if I don't. I got to ask myself, why have I not brushed my teeth? Why have I not had a shower in like 2 weeks? That's the same thing with meditation, mindfulness. You got to be in the present moment, right? So that brings me to the end of this presentation, right? So for more information, you can check out the website, thetradingframework.com. You can email me, info@thetradingframework.com. I just want to show you guys the offer, because I think Josh will mention this, but the offer is going to be on this actual program, the Peak Trading Performance Program. Now, this is only valid for 48 hours, so it's going to disappear after a little while. But at the moment, it's £497. You can check out the details here. There's 4 main modules. And, if you are interested in actually learning more about mindfulness, meditation, neuro-linguistic programming, timeline therapy, it's a good place to go to, right? And I can recommend some other steps. If you're not interested in that, just email me. I will help you. I will guide you in the right direction. You don't have to buy anything from me. I'm giving you an offer because I think it's a good deal. But don't think I'm here to just sell you something. I want you to take something of value. It's pointless me being here if you do not take something of value. So you don't have to buy anything here. I'm just saying to you, just really become aware of why you lack discipline, why you actually lack patience, right? And hopefully some of you guys will hear me. Right, thank you very much. So I've got a few questions here. Let me just take these. I just see a few questions coming through, quite standard, like general questions. Yeah, programs like HoloSync and other CDs are really, really great. I actually recommend, you try different methods which really suit you, because for me, when I started meditating, I really liked guided meditations, and I still use things like HoloSync. I like Neuroprogrammer 3. I like binaural beats and isochronic technologies, because they are actually audio technologies. So please take some time to research those. But I'm not going to really get into them today. But they are very, very useful. I had a question about them, so that's why I took that question there. Now, thank you very much for all the thanks. That's very much appreciated. What is the website special? Basically, it's 25% off the Peak Trading Performance Program. And that performance program, the Peak Trading Performance Program, is on the website at the moment. But you can actually get it if you use the link that Josh has just shared. I think he shared it there somewhere. If he hasn't, I'll just share it right now. Here it is. So this is the 25% off. link of the Peak Trading Performance Program, because it's normally £497, but you can actually get it for £372.75. So it's a big discount actually. So that's the offer. Can you be specific on the help of medification? I think you mean meditation. So I mean, meditation is it's one of these things. Like I said, a lot of people shy away from it, but meditation, there's many different forms. I mean, I use so many different forms of meditation, like guided meditations, audio meditations, yoga, qigong, but they're all meditations. I mean, at the end of the day, the goal, the objective is to make you more mindful. It's to bring you back into the now, into the present moment. So it doesn't really matter what technique you use, because you can actually go for a walk and become very mindful, become very aware. It's just really this technique about, it's about bringing your conscious awareness back to the present moment. Because what we typically do, not only as traders, but as human beings, we lose our thoughts to things about the past, about the future. I mean, how many of us actually are fully present right now? Most of us are not, right? And this is just a reality. I'm not saying I am completely present, because I'm not. But at the same time, I recognize when I'm not, and I bring myself back to the now. And it's just like, as I said, that muscle that you train. You know, if you're concentrating on training your bicep muscle on your arm, and you're contracting that muscle, your focus is there. But you focus that mind to muscle connection to the bicep. If you're training your back, you focus the mind to muscle connection to your back. And the thing is, you grow that through mind to muscle connection, through awareness. So what happens for us as human beings, it's very natural, is that we lose ourselves to these thoughts, these ideas about what happened yesterday, what's going to happen tomorrow. And in trading, we're still sitting there thinking about the losing day yesterday, the trade that didn't work out last week or last year. You know, so what I'm saying is basically bring your conscious awareness back to the plan today, because your mind will wander. But if your mind is not trained, if it's not become a habit to come back to the now, you will continuously sit there and not be present. You will not trade your plan. That's the point that I'm making, right? So yeah, I mean, that's some good questions. How would you use this method to remove embedded fear? Like, first of all, like, fear is a very natural, you know, emotion. We're going to have fear. We need fear, you know, to survive. Now, we need to know if we're going to be hit by a bus if we jump into the middle of the road, right? So you need fear. Firstly, you don't need to eliminate or remove fear. What you need to do is overshadow that fear or that doubt with something that is more positive, like, for example, your belief and confidence in your plan. Like, if I have fear or doubt, it's there for a reason. It means I haven't understood the situation, or my plan doesn't make sense. But for a new trader, if nothing makes sense, or they don't have a plan that makes sense in the first place, they're completely full of doubt and fear anyway. But for somebody that's an experienced trader, doubt, fear, and anxiety are very useful tools. So you don't need to remove fear. You actually need to overshadow that fear. Like, fear is a tool. It's something you need as a human being. Like, if you're scared, you need to know to survive, right? So, you know, fear is not something you need to remove. It's something in trading you overshadow with enough belief and confidence to say, okay, well, I'm not scared of this. I believe enough to overshadow that fear, right? Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, I think we've had enough questions there, Josh. Thank you very much, guys. Oh, wait a minute. I've got another question. Genuine question. A lot to invest. I was told a successful trader doesn't sell anything. They focus on their own trading only. I think so, to some extent. I mean, I think it depends on what your objectives are as a human being. Because I know many traders that don't teach anything. They don't share anything. Because it's very much like, you know, it's like the Lord of the Rings. You know, I protect the ring and it's for me and it's not for anybody else. I mean, I have many different reasons for sharing my knowledge and experience, because for me, it's a legacy. Like, I might disappear tomorrow. And if I was to disappear off this planet tomorrow, my trading is gone. My whole trading career is over. But my legacy can live on through, like, webinars and seminars and my teachings. So I like the idea of legacy. You know, it's about teachings and actually, you know, sharing what you know, but for the right reasons. You know, there is a lot of crap out there, but at the same time, you know, if you come from a genuine place, you know, share it.